This is Tyler. Grammarly does more than catch errors. With Grammarly, you can find really good, no, perfect words that make your writing sharp, or explicit, or excellent.
Apparently the intro doesn't want to fucking play. Ayrton's over here laughing at me because I'm just letting ads play just all freely and shit.
No, not that. It was an ad for Grammarly after I made fun of you for misspelling okay in the chat.
I hate you so
That's
much.
what I was laughing at.
Have I fired you today? I haven't fired you today, have I?
Yeah, you fired me in the Discord.
I don't know that counts.
It counts.
I hate you so much. Anyway, so for some reason my intro music isn't playing. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna start the show without it. But hello, everyone. Welcome to the Gospel of Comics. I am your host, the Church of Failure, and with me, as always, is my smart-ass co-host, Ayrton McCartney. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing good. Helping my dad remodel his kitchen today, so I'm a bit tired, but, you know, I got my scotch, so I'm good.
I have scotch as well, and I need it, because in the last 10 minutes, the candy dish that my wife has procured for Halloween has taunted me and made fun of me for reaching for candy. And I can't get my fucking intro to play for some reason. It was working fine before the show started. I don't know why it's not now. Probably because I switched over to Streamlabs OBS so that the super chats could pop up, because I know we're never going to be monetized by YouTube.
I don't know. Novel Bro says we should try and get Grammarly as a sponsor.
Well, yeah. Two drunks that talk about comic books and mispronounce everything. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. We will do you justice, Grammarly. We will be your biggest success stories.
Hey, if you can make that happen, Novel Bro, we'll cut you in.
Well, Ayrton will out of his share. I would cut you in too, but if he's going to go giving away my money, I'm going to give away more of his. He is using 2 tin cans in a string, Matt. Like, what are you talking about? That's been the gimmick day one.
Yeah, where have you been?
Actually, tonight he's calling in on a bull's horn that's been hollowed out. Anyway,
it's an old gramophone. I recorded all this previously on a 78, and I'm sitting there winding the gramophone, playing it back.
Fantastic. So, really, we just wanted to put something out for you guys since we missed yesterday. I don't know. Did you ever actually give me an answer on whether you wanted to just go to Friday to Monday and just cut out Wednesday? Because Wednesday's just so random and in the middle of the week.
Yeah, it's becoming kind of shit, really.
Yeah. So, tree and tree.
Yeah, it's tough.
So, yeah, we'll probably just end up going to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday as our schedule. And and then what we'll do during the week, since we have Patreon videos that we owe people, we're going to start putting out single issue reviews and like short form content in the middle of the week. Promise. We actually came up with this idea before Ricada said that's what he was going to do last night on the air. I feel like he stole that idea from us. I don't know. Maybe Nick Ricada secretly watches the show. Anyway,
I hope he does.
I do too. He should shout it out.
That's why he's always late to his shows, because he's watching ours.
Right. That's what I like to think. Anyway, real quick, shout out to Novel Bro, Matt Christie, and Daniel in the chat. What's going on, guys? Thanks for being here. Everybody that's liked and everything, I do appreciate you guys, especially the pre-stream likes. Those are fantastic. We like the bullshit you're about to do before you do it. We know you're going to put on a good shit show. Get at it.
I mean, you know, not to bring you down a peg, but one of those is usually me. Because if I don't do it before we start, I'll forget.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's fantastic. Forget to like his own fucking show. But anyway, we've had some stuff
grab your sombreros, your tacos, and your tequila, and let's settle in.
Why are we? What's happening? Why are there sombreros? Goddamn intro music still won't work.
In the chat.
So why? I said, goddamn intro music still won't work. I've been trying to figure it out since we started. I'm like, why isn't this working? And I look in and it's a fucking Twitter link. I'm like, of course it doesn't work. It's a fucking Twitter link. It's been cached in OBS this whole time. Oh, Jesus Christ. So, this week in comics has been kind of interesting. A lot of weird and interesting stuff came out this week. Did you pick anything up yesterday?
Yeah, I picked up some stuff. Some of the cool stuff that I was hoping for didn't come into my shop. Like Samurai Grandpa number 4, whatever I think it's 4.
Okay.
But I did get Battle Pug issue 2, and get around to reading that one today. Oh, what else did I get? Web of Black Widow issue 2, a lot better than the first one.
Okay.
And did the Hickman X-Men, which we will be talking about tomorrow.
I think so.
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay. Before we...
There is a sixth dimension beyond that which is known to man. A multiverse as vast as eternity, as timeless as the Infinity Gems. It is the middle ground between the big two and the indie publishers, between sci-fi and mysticism, and it lies between the pages of the reader's imagination. At the summit of entertainment, the dimension of comics, where a humble service is held. We call this service the Gospel of Comics.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Gospel of Comics. I am your host, Church of Failure, and with me, as always... I told you guys I would get it. Fucking goddamn intro music. But, oh, goddamn it, what's happening? Oh, wait, you're continuing to play in the background. I've got to figure out how to turn off autoplay.
That sounds like one of my pieces.
Figure out how to turn off autoplay. I knew this was going to be a fucking disaster.
See, and that's why I just sent you the audio file for the intro, so you won't have to deal with that.
No, but it's so easy to just cue it up in OBS like that. I mean, maybe in Streamlabs you can put a music, like a music piece through. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Probably not. Probably just fuck everything up. But so you picked up what did you actually end up picking up?
So yeah, I got the Sonata issue 5.
Okay.
From IDW, or is that Image? That's Image. Let's see, Usagi Yojimbo, Web of Black Widow, Battle Pug.
You picked up Battle Pug too? Really?
Yeah. I was curious.
Oh man,
but
I didn't.
But then I finally got around. So the biggest thing is I finally got around to reading some stuff I bought like a week or two ago that I haven't had time. And one of them that I'm actually really into, this story idea, is another Aftershock book.
Okay.
It's called You Are Obsolete. It's really weird. It's this island off the coast of, I don't know, Estonia or something like that. I don't remember. I don't think Estonia has a coast, but and this reporter gets asked to come here to do a piece on this town, to find out that all of the the children of this island town are in charge of everything, and there's some characters like freaking out that they're turning 40, and it's kind of this weird, like like the adults there are only allowed to live until they're 40, and like all of the kids only communicate through text messaging. It's like really weird and kind of like, like technocratic utopian. Like, seems I'm really intrigued by it.
Okay.
So,
and what was the name of that again?
You Are Obsolete.
I don't think I picked that up, although I do remember looking
That was
at
a couple weeks. Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago that one came out.
Yeah, I caught that. I don't think I picked that one up though. This week I did pick up some interesting stuff. Let me get my back out here. So I picked up Contagion #2.
Okay.
Yeah, Gotham City Monsters #2 because I really like that. I did find a full set of what was it? Night Temporal 1 through 3 at my store,
Okay.
so I picked those up so I'd have the physical copies of them. Tommy Gun Wizards came out a week or two ago, I think, so I picked that up.
Yeah,
I didn't have the second copy
as well.
I didn't have the second issue.
Oh,
I had the first issue, but not the second.
Yeah, because I got issue 2 last week. I read it today though. It's a lot better than issue 1.
So, I also picked up a couple of things from Marvel and DC because, for once, they had some interesting stuff. I mean, I know Contagion is Marvel, but I picked up the Batman's Grave, part 1 of 12. Doctor Doom #1 from Marvel. That seemed interesting. There's something called White Fox that I didn't pick up, but I'm thinking very strongly about picking it up.
Okay.
It may be a digital
White
only
Fox,
release.
one of those new characters, isn't it?
I think so. Year of the Villain Joker came out this week, so I picked that up. I figure they're gonna do something interesting with the Joker. And then there was the Secrets of Sinister House that had like a vampire Batman and like a Joker that was scared of him on the cover. Eight Nightmares from Comics Most Twisted Talents is the cover of it. It's an anthology. It looks really good. I don't really recognize a lot of the talent. I mean, Paul Dini obviously is in there. He did a Harley Quinn and Zatanna.
I almost picked up. Didn't like Joker Harley Quinn book come out this week too?
I don't know. I don't know that my shop got that.
There was a few Joker things I saw in my shop at least.
Yeah. But yeah, there was a lot come out this week that was really interesting, and last week. Joker Harley Quinn, Criminal Sanity. Yeah, that came out.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that's been coming out that I've just been really kind of drawn into. That they're taking some different directions. So I'm really interested to see where some of that stuff goes. I know we have to finish out. Oh, Millennium came out. A Legion of Superheroes Millennium #2. That book that I was reading with Rose and Thorn that you didn't like.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, do I want to grab the second issue? Not really.
Did I miss Killer Groove #5? Has that come out already?
That has not come out yet.
Okay.
I think that'll be next week or the week after.
Okay. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff we've got to look at. Plus, on the roster we've got. Oh, you're completely fine, Danielle. Welcome to the chat. There's a lot we have to kind of get through as far as just stuff we've had on the back burner as well, because that's the fun thing about a channel like this is we'll never really be short on stuff that we can read and review and sit and talk about.
Right.
Oh, you know what I did see for the first time this week at my shop? And I don't know if they've been coming out already and my store owner just kind of took a chance on it because Watchmen's a big deal, but there was the #1 issues for $1 from DC. They had a Watchmen book out this week or last week one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I didn't buy it because I already own like 3 copies of Watchmen, but it's still kind of interesting to see that they're starting to put those dollar books out as well as Marvel, because there were a lot of X-Men books in the True Believers series this week, the $1 Marvel series.
Yeah, they've been releasing a lot of. It seems like mostly Spider-Man and X-Men stuff in the True Believers.
Well, that they do cycles. I don't know if you've noticed this, but I have, because I pick every one that I can up because they're only $1.
Yeah, fair enough. No, I haven't paid as much attention to them. But let's see, Killer Groove issue 5 comes out on the 16th, so this coming week.
Okay, well that'll be good. Daniel in the chat says you guys will always be able to get drunk and BS for 2 hours while we pay you. That's the goal. I mean, that is the dream, right? We all want to be Nick Rackets when we grow up. But I really, he put a thing up where he was like, I'm just going to read the $20 super chat when they come in, and then I'll read the rest at the end of the show because I don't want to keep interrupting the show. And it made sense. But I thought, man, that's kind of steep. And then I realized, wait a minute, that's fucking genius. He literally set a price limit on how much it costs to be, and now I'm not doing that by any means, but he set a price limit on how much it took to be able to interact at that time.
Right. I mean, hell, we'll read your chats if you pay us 50 cents.
I don't know that you can, but yes, we would. I would prefer if you did it like by letter at that rate, but however you want to do it.
A nickel a letter, like sending a telegram.
Right. Or using the little telegraph. Is that what it's called? A telegraph? What's the
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sending like sending a wire.
Yeah.
Back in the 30s. Yeah. Yeah, you used to have to pay per letter, I think. Either per letter or per word, depending on... I think it depended on the service.
Interesting. I remember back in the day when you had to call collect places and you would just give you would just try and scream, like the old commercial said, where you would just try and scream everything you wanted to say in the name portion of the call.
Right.
You have a collect call from...
Or you do it to your parents, like, pick me up here at this time. And then
Right. But, no, one of the reasons I wanted to kind of get everything, organized on this show, I guess, before we go forward, because we've had a lot of different ideas and a lot of different formats over the last couple of months.
Yeah, it's...
Don't judge me, Danielle. English is my second language. I learned Geechee from birth. I'll make you a damn good peach cobbler, though. But no,
Man, speaking of peach cobbler, sorry, real quick.
Oh, absolutely.
This Kentucky barbecue whiskey bar that opened up recently in my hometown. They have an open mic night, so I've been going up there and hanging out with musicians and playing and stuff. But man, they have some damn good shrimp and grits.
I'm not sure what that has to do with peach cobbler, but okay, continue.
Well, because they have peach cobbler on the menu as well. But
okay.
Their shrimp and grits is fantastic.
We used to have a breakfast joint that did a breakfast shrimp and grits with chorizo. Oh, it was to fucking die for.
Oh, yeah, and they give you this big hunkin' square of cornbread, but it's actually... Well, up here, most of the time when you get cornbread, it's real dry and, kind of crumbly. This stuff is, super dense and moist. So good.
Don't ever say moist in my presence again. It just sounded wrong coming from you. Plus the artifacting from your connection or whatever just made it all the worse. That was. I needed another shower. I showered before we went on the air, and now I need another shower after hearing you say the word moist.
Ooh, I already have a meme lined up in my head to post in the Discord now because of that.
sure you do. But anyway, over the last few months since we've been doing this show, we've had multiple formats, and we've had the Northerners don't know how to make cornbread. That's true. That's true. Always too sweet in my my experience. Anytime a Yankee has come down here to make cornbread, I don't know where sugar comes into the recipe, except maybe a pinch to cut the salt. But and no, there should not be enough sugar in cornbread to make it sweet. Now, Jiffy muffins are a completely different story. Those things are designed to be sweet.
Into a food stream.
Probably, but I'm trying to get back on track to what I was saying about how we've had many different formats over the last few months.
Kitchen Hour with Church and Ayrton will sit there and make dishes and teach you guys how to cook.
I mean, I'm more of a baker, but okay. I'll learn around with you guys. But no, I'm going to try one more time. If you fucking derail me again, I'm just muting you until I get through this. So of the formats that we've had before, and of the the books that we've read, we've come up with a few different lists over the course of time. And right now, as it stands, our current we need to do these things either because for Patreon or because we've committed to it anyway. For Matt, all right, but because we've committed to it anyway or whatever. So right now we do have a guest lined up for Saturday or Sunday. I do believe it's Sunday. A creator whose character designs are just absolutely gorgeous. It's Ryan Hack with Bric-a-Brac #1 on Indiegogo. I'll post a link in the chat so everybody can check it out. Might even bring it up on screen later just to kind of give you guys an idea of what we're looking at. But go ahead and put this in the chat.
Little sneak peek for you guys there.
So that's the book we'll be talking about this weekend at some point. The character designs, if you scroll down on the Indiegogo page, are just absolutely just so much fun, and they're really beautiful. Like the ones that are colored, like the first one you see. The second one's a little bit weird, but then you get down to like the Nutcracker guy, and just I don't know. I really enjoyed it. It just kind of struck a Father Christmas, the design for that guy. There are a couple of different tiers. You can get a digital copy for like $5 and your name in the thank you page. You can get digital copy of 2 different bags or books for $9. Get a digital and a physical for $12. Add a bookmark for $20. So it's digital and physical, a bookmark, and an art print. Excuse me. So that's $20. There's a $30 tier and a $40 tier, but I just really like the way it looked. It's a new campaign, so they've got $300 or $372 of $4,700 with 29 days to go. But I kind of look forward to this just because the art looks so interesting and just so much fun, and it's based on a holiday. I'm trying to avoid reading through all about it so that I can hear it firsthand from the creator like I like to.
See, that's why I never look at the stuff before we do our shows, so I can be surprised. And look at it with fresh
format. Format. I get it. Matt's making a pun about his name. I get it. All right. Format. Yes.
But
like the one time that I said, welcome, Matt, and that just kind of derailed everything. But we also have to do some videos at some point this weekend for next week. I think we talked about that.
Bees this weekend.
We are. So the first 2 that we're going to be looking at is going to be Arm Fall Off Boy, which is a Legion of Superhero, one of my favorite characters. And then there's Danny the Street, which is a sentient street in the DC universe that can teleport itself to any city and basically blend in perfectly.
You know,
You
I
got that
kind of
going.
want that superpower.
You know, but you'd have to be a literal street, like an avenue or, a highway or something. You would have to literally be the ground that was driven on or walked on.
See, but I would do it, 4 tires. Because if you do all 4, insurance covers it. If you only do 3, they have to pay for it.
Really?
At least up here in Michigan, I know if you're going to slash somebody's tires, you only want to do 3 at the most.
Interesting.
Not saying you should go slash tires, but if you can turn into a street and you can make a pothole, then go for it.
I don't know. I don't endorse any kind of vandalism.
Don't do it.
I don't endorse any kind of vandalism. But those are the first. We're going to have to look at some books from those 2 characters and pick a single issue to do a review on. It'll be so. These may just be like mini streams that we post up at irregular intervals without a chat. We may even make a stream available to patrons only during the weekends where we record these and then clip them out of the video. That could be something we could do.
We could. If we can figure out a way to send the video file to me, I can edit it. I actually do not do that. So.
I don't know. I don't know that we can wait 6 months for an edited video.
Well, hey now. I didn't know how to use the new GarageBand. I know how to use the video editing stuff that I have. I can add sound effects and shit, like little laser guns going off if we make a stupid joke or something.
We got to get you a soundboard.
That would be fun. Yeah, me and my sister, back in March, I think, we applied for the Amazing Race because
why not?
And why not? Yeah. So we had to you had to make a video to send in. So it was super awkward because I made her start the video, talking about who we are and stuff, and she started talking, then she just got embarrassed and felt real awkward and just started laughing. So I cut that into the actual intro of our video with a wah wah type sound effect and stuff, and made it actually end up sounding actually kind of good. But it was So I do know how to kind of use some video editing stuff.
And you could cut the pauses and all that stuff out if we didn't have a chat or anything like that, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, that'll be good. Yeah, we might be able to work something out then. But I figure we start putting up some videos on our days off. That way, 10-15 minute videos at least once per day off, depending on how many books we have to review that week or whatever.
Might be what kind of hell you put us through.
Well, we could also do back issue bin stuff from there. That's what I was kind of wanting to segue into, honestly, is because of the different things that we've done over the months that just haven't stuck in as streaming things, that we could still kind of use those to do video content off of. So, where did I have this? Where's my documents here? Need to be organized.
We have Tales from the back issue bin. We have Pick a Publisher. We have Signature Series.
You being all fucking... Let's see.
What else did we have? Those were our 3 main ones that we did.
Yeah, and then it just kind of devolved into having guests on whenever we could and all that other good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, This Week in Comics, but we still do that one.
Well, that's because that's the good one. But, we've got...
we're 3 months late on doing the next episode of For the Boys for Signature Series.
Yeah, I just didn't like being pigeonholed into that because, like I said, so much good stuff comes out every week, and then there's so many good things to cover, and then you'll have a guest on. I just don't like to pigeonhole our show into that. We have to do this kind of thing. But, I mean, some of the stuff some of the stuff that we've got up here, I mean, would be perfect for like short video series. Like once a week, we could pick a section of Age of Apocalypse to talk about for like a half an hour, 20 minutes or whatever, and put that up until it was done.
Give us some feedback, guys, in the chat. Like, what do you guys think of this?
Yeah. But, I mean, we've got series for days that we've started or looked at and wanted to finish reading or haven't done anything with. Like, I still want to look at the Dark Knight Metal one-shots. You know, the bad guy versions of Batman.
The Dark Phoenix saga. So
Claremont X-Men, yeah. There's just Imagine Stan Lee creating the DC universe. I mean, hell, that's a fucking video a week right there for like 7 weeks.
Right. I mean, Secret Wars, which you've been talking about doing since we started the show.
Oh no, that's going to be a 24-hour stream. But Age of Apocalypse is up there.
That's actually not a bad idea. I mean, to be fair, I'll probably be reading it during the 24-hour stream, like as we're going forward with it. But
you know, there's topics that we can talk about. There'll always be news articles that'll come up that we'll want to talk about. Be sure to note what's completed and see it takes your fancy at given times. Yeah, like I said, if we start doing this, then we can have like little video playlist on the channel. And you can kind of go through the series with us in short form when we don't have a stream going on, or you know, it'll at least be something to kind of build up the algorithm. Because I'm not gonna lie, I mean, I want to make content for you guys, but I also want to maybe even attempt to feed the algorithm and maybe get some more notice from people that like comic books and are over the age of 5.
You know, sorry, I need to touch on another segue real quick, which, and you'll enjoy this, and it's comic book related.
Oh wow! On topic.
So this week, before my rehearsal for Sunday, it was just me and the guy that was playing bass this week, and we got there a bit early. I've got a few beers at the local bar before going over. Me and him were talking, and I was like, yeah, I got a few beers. That's kind of my weekly routine for rehearsals. Go to the comic book store, get some beers, come to rehearsal. And so he started telling me his daughter, who's like 11 or 12, somewhere in that age range, had recently got into comic books from the CW, like the Flash and Arrow and those shows and stuff. And he had found this comic book store close by his house, and he was like, I can't believe like how cool the guy at the shop was. Like, we came in, there was a few people there and stuff, and he said, how can I help you? And I told him, you know, she's just getting into comics. And this guy literally told everyone, you guys are gonna have to wait a few minutes. And he like sat down with her and kind of like, you know, talk to her about like what she likes, what she's looking for, explain the difference between like Spider-Man and Spectacular Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man, and you know, this is where you should start reading. And like, I was just like, wow, that is
almost unheard of.
That guy needs to be an example for the retail industry right there. Well, if you're going to, because my buddy was like, instantly, I was like, okay, you have my business no matter what, just because you took the time to do that.
Right.
You know?
I've seen that with Magic the Gathering before, but I mean, I think it's just two different cultures there. I think the Magic the Gathering was a little less noble, if you will. You know, just a low key attempt at just being near enough to a woman to smell what her shampoo smells like. No offense, right. But Magic the Gathering guys, we it can be rough sometimes.
But that was one of those things. Like, one of the things I've noticed at my comic book store, there's one guy that works there who will, you know, like when I go up to the counter, it'll be like, oh yeah, this one's really good. I read this one already, and I'll be
Yeah.
like, you know, we'll have a little chat about it or whatnot. But just it's a weird like retail difference from, and I know you love when I bring up cigars, but from cigars, like if I'm not in like the cigar room talking to the person, which like 90% of the time I am, as soon as they walk in, when they come out, I'm at least saying like, oh, what are you grabbing today? You know, and
Right.
you know, they'll show me what cigar they picked. I'll be like, oh, that's a really good one. And then usually I'll be like, hey, have you tried this? And they'll be like, no, what's that? And I'll go and show them. I'll end up buying, you know, more. But it's, you know, it just blows my mind in that like retail sense that you don't see that as much in like the comic book stores.
No,
You know what I mean?
Well, I'll tell you, and unless your shop is based on comic books, a lot of times nowadays they're an afterthought. Like I said, my local shop, man, it used to be mainly comic books with and sports cards. Comic book and sports cards with like a sprinkling of Magic the Gathering or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon or whatever it was at the time. But comics and baseball cards were their bread and butter, and now it's almost the opposite. Now they make their money off the trading cards and the high-end sports cards, and comics are just an afterthought. They just don't have the sway. They don't have the pull. I don't know that that's ever going to change. I don't know that you're ever going to get an option where, you know, comics are going to rise to that prominence again. Even with
fair.
I mean, even with something like Comicsgate, even with the indie movement, like I feel like people that want to read comic books will always be able to. Nobody can read every comic book ever written in their lifetime. It's impossible. I've done the math, and just the stuff that I would want to read would take me years of just nonstop reading, and no sleep, no food, no sex, no nothing. Just reading comics hour after hour, and it would still take me years to finish reading everything that I wanted to read. So, I mean, for me, I'm set. Like, and then there's the idea of going back and rereading stuff that I really liked so that I can cover it on the show and talk about it with you and introduce you and other people to it, and, you know, maybe tell the audience what my fucked up opinions of it are. But, you know, it's just, there's a wealth that's already out there. So I don't think that the medium will ever completely die off. And I don't think new stuff will ever honestly stop being written, because I do think it'll evolve. Excuse me. I do think that there will be a point where the webcomic format or the digital comic format, or, you know, the idea of putting your work out for free to be supported over time on, you know, platforms like Patreon, you know, like GoFundMe, like Kickstarter, all that stuff. I think that's going to become the new norm.
Yeah, which I don't know, but you know, for those shops to succeed, so like my shop, it's like comics, pop figures, the nerd culture, like clothing and stuff, and like action figures mostly. And then they have like a section of trading cards and stuff. And
Right.
you would think in that atmosphere they would be more, you know, like, you know, like a little bit more. I don't want to say salesman-y, because that sounds like used car salesman in a cheap suit, like sleazy, but you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, you know, there's nothing sleazy about making a dollar.
Right.
But no, I get it. I don't really think there's an answer for it.
Yeah. All I know is, you know, whoever this guy is at this shop, you're doing it right.
Yeah.
I will have to say, and kudos to that guy, especially, you know, taking the time to kind of explain like how things work and stuff like that to a new reader like that. really just blew my mind. I thought that was really awesome. If it wasn't so far away from where I live, I would probably start going to that comic store as well.
Yeah, and, you know, always support your local shop, but it depends on how you're making the dollar. I suppose you're right. I mean, sacred tartar sauce and whatnot. But I was actually
the
commenting.
oldest profession in the book.
Yes, you did this to you.
I know.
I mean, you're the one that keeps.
Why do you guys enjoy tormenting me so much?
Is this easy? So, I actually was having a conversation with somebody almost a week ago, right? And it started because of something Don Chen said, and he was like, you know, how can someone understand they claim the person is even remotely aware of adolescent radioactive black belt hamsters, doesn't read comics? Literally no one outside the creators is on Twitter with like 230 followers. And he tagged me in, and he was like, but they're 230 rabbit followers.
He tagged both of us in that, actually.
Yeah. And,
yeah.
You know, I started having a conversation with someone, and I was just like, you know, I wonder if there's a cost-effective model to give retailers an option to sell crowdfunded comics to customers to pre-order them. And I do think it would take more than, you know, a month-long campaign or a 2-month-long campaign. As long as these stores stay in demand, I mean, I really think that we need a better model of, you know, we don't have to fund this in 30 days. Maybe spread it out to 90. And if you can get a 90-day window and you do your advertising correctly, then you can market through something. Never rail against the meme, go with it. That's correct. But
it does bring you guys enjoyment. So,
well, I mean, you got to be careful. But we were talking about this, and I got to thinking about it, and I was thinking maybe with a 90-day crowdfunding, you know, limit or extension or whatever, and enough work beforehand, you would just need the ability to get, you know, the idea to the retailer, and maybe get the retailer to tell their comic people about it. That's when I thought, wait a minute, well, how did Image do that? And Image did it with a shitload of advertisements in their comics. I've actually worked with...
They still have a shitload of advertisements for their new books and their comics.
Yeah, but, I mean...
Aftershock does the same thing. They do a little... Sorry to interrupt, but at the end of a lot of their comics, they'll have like a 2 or 3 page, like, little short from, like, an upcoming comic that's coming out, like, next month.
Right. Yeah, I see that a lot of places, actually. But, no, we need a way to get the information about upcoming crowdfunded comics to retailers, to people buying comic books. And I think that's the next step if you want to keep the crowdfunding dream alive, is that eventually you're going to need a retailer bundle, right? And,
right.
You know, that kind of gets tricky, but maybe you have a secret retailer perk that your average consumer can't see, or something like that. Because you wouldn't want to make your consumer feel like they're getting shafted when you're selling the book for $10 off to a retailer so they can make a buck, or $5 off to a retailer, or whatever.
Right. Which, I mean, it wouldn't be that hard to do. You would just have to, you know, you just, as a retailer, you would email the person with the campaign with your tax ID number to prove that, you know, you have that retail, you know, tax level or whatever, and then they'd be able to offer you a specific package at a certain price.
Well, it made me think, and I started wondering, you know, what if another, and this is just me spitballing, I'm not by any means or ideas trying to tell anybody how to do their business or anything like that. This is just me kind of spitballing an idea here, but let's just say, for example, who's our patron saint of publisher / about to be distributor?
You mean Peter Cimetti,
Mr. Alterna. What if there was
Showly Alterna Shill?
So what if somebody were to come up with an idea to say, okay, well, all of these guys are independent. What if we help pay for their book runs on a small scale in exchange for an advertisement? Something like that. I mean, it would be a start. It would be a small start. You would have to target your book into a book of similar, and it would have to be obviously agreed upon by the creator or whatever, because everything's creator owned. But
right.
Then that got me thinking, well, you still, it still seems like there's several steps that are being cut out that are going to have to take place. Nothing can be simple bureaucratically anymore. You have to always have several levels of just complete and utter bullshit in amongst any good idea. So,
yeah.
Thinking, how do you get it to retailers? How do you get retailers on a massive nationwide scale?
How did Trump Space Force do it? Because that was a crowdfunded book.
Yeah, but then they had a publisher publish it as well.
From my shop.
Didn't Antarctic Press put that out?
I'd have to go grab it off my shelf and look.
And I think it was Antarctic Press.
Do that.
I mean, you go do that, actually, yeah. I think that was actually put out by a publisher, though. And maybe that's the answer. Maybe an established comic book publisher needs to pick up the torch and offer to, but, then you have people like Ethan Van Sciver, who's already founded All Caps Comics, and that's going to be his imprint. He's not gonna print under Alterna or Antarctic Press or anything like that. He's always going to print under All Caps Comics as an imprint. So, what do you do at that point? And my answer is, it's not a publisher, and not necessarily the distribution model. So what is it? How do you get... Would it be too much to ask to have line art a quarter of the way done before launching a product? Or have all your homework done before setting a date? No, and I think that we're kind of getting there, Knox, to answer you directly.
I'm back, by the way.
Yeah, what was it?
Yeah, you are right. It was Antarctic Press, so yeah, you're right.
It's almost like I know my shit. But I'm answering Knox's question in the chat right now. Would it be too much to ask to have line art a quarter of the way done, or having all your homework done before setting a date and launching a project? And no, we've actually talked about this. I think that Gilbert Deltrez did fairly well, at least, in having all of his ducks in a row, having several successful campaigns under his belt, and
near Bill, that's how he's doing it.
And he built up the hype for his book before he launched it. Now, I think the reason his campaign hasn't just been blown out of the water yet is because he had a very high bar to cross when he set funding for it. He set funding for $15,000, and I think that might have skeeved some people out early, so it may be harder to hit that goal on time. We actually did an episode where we went over the things we liked and didn't like about certain campaigns and stuff like that. And
our guest on that show, Thor Odinson,
gotta get him back on.
That's kind of what he's doing with Invictus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's trying.
He wants to have the majority of it done before he even launches the campaign.
Which, if you guys have not watched our first interview with him about Invictus, you should check it out because that story looks awesome.
Knox says that's where EVS screwed up. He was unfamiliar with how Chromium covers work. That's how the Frog books turned out late. Yeah, and and that's the thing. I think we're coming out of that summer of ignorance that a lot of creators had when launching their first product. I think that the learning curve is almost over. I do think that there would be something really beneficial from having people say, "Oh, well, let me make a successful crowdfunding template. Let me show people, the things that I would have in line before I did it from someone with successful campaigns that were, just completely overfunded."
But besides just being, famous,
Right.
like EVS,
Right.
or
and
your voice,
or having that shout out. I think that's the main thing. And we've got to get away from needing that shout out to no. We've got to get away from creators needing that shout out to get funded.
So
And
really, we need some sort of central publishing company for these indie comics, and someone to handle the sale and distribution.
But that's not going to work.
Retailers as well, and then someone to handle the advertising.
Central publisher isn't going to work. That'd just be Image 2.0. You can't.
With a really, I mean, that's Alterna, right? At this point.
Yeah, but those are the people that choose to go through Alterna. There are also people that have the ability